Hi, this is Gregory Deal, founder of Identity Publications, and today I want to talk to you about one of our latest publications, U.S. Taxes for Worldly Americans, the Traveling Expat's Guide to Living, Working, and Staying Tax-Compliant Abroad by Certified Public Accountant Olivier Wagner. Now, as the name implies, this is a book for U.S. citizens who live or work in another country. There are generally three categories of people that this applies to. The first is your standard American expat, which is just somebody who has relocated on a mostly permanent basis to another country, probably works there, owns property or other assets there. There's also something called an accidental American, which is maybe somebody who was born in the United States but never grew up there or lived there and might not even know that they are technically American citizens because they were born on U.S. soil. And the third category is increasingly popular in modern times, which is people who identify themselves as digital nomads or other kinds of perpetual travelers who don't really live in one place full-time, but just tend to hop around from place to place as they want. So they're a little bit different than traditional expats who move to another country. These are people who don't really have one country to call their home, but they don't really spend their time in the United States. Now, if you are one of these classes of people, it's important to understand how the U.S. tax rules apply differently for you than Americans who stay at home and earn their money at home. Otherwise, you could miss out on important ways that you could legally reduce your taxes, or even worse, you could inadvertently end up being tax non-compliant because you didn't file correctly or even file at all. There is, in fact, even a new rule started in 2016 saying that any American citizen who owes more than $50,000 in unpaid taxes is liable to have their passport revoked, which, if you're a traveler or an expat, is probably pretty important to you. Now, as you probably already know, the United States is one of only two countries in the entire world, the other being Eritrea on the east coast of Africa, that taxes its citizens no matter where they live or work. It's citizenship-based taxation. That means no matter what lifestyle you live in and no matter what country, if you make more than $10,350 per year as of the year 2016, you have to file a tax return no matter what. Now, because many expats and nomads haven't filed in a long time because they think that they're safe being out of the country from the prying eyes of the IRS, when they do decide to file, it can be a pretty major hassle trying to get caught up on all the years they didn't file. Some people believe that you don't owe taxes on any money made overseas. This is only true if you know how to take advantage of certain options that exist specifically for expatriates and nomads, such as the foreign earned income exclusion or the foreign tax credit. The foreign earned income exclusion, for example, allows you to exclude up to about the first $100,000 of money made in another country. So if you make less than $100,000 a year and you qualify for this exclusion by passing the tests they provide, you can essentially pay $0 on your income made in other countries. By combining these kinds of options and tests together, it's possible for most people, except very high income earners, to legally get their taxes down to zero. And figuring out exactly how to do that without getting into any trouble along the way is exactly what this book was written for. Now, it's not as straightforward and simple as it may sound. To figure out your exact tax situation, you'll need to answer a lot of questions, such as how many days do you spend abroad each year? Do you have legal residency or any foreign bank accounts? Or have you set up any companies in another country? How much money do you make as an individual or as a foreign corporate entity? If you don't understand how to make all these factors work in your favor, you could end up paying more than you have to, or you could file incorrectly and find yourself having a long conversation with the IRS. The purpose of this book, U.S. Taxes for Worldly Americans, is not to scare you into taking action or freaking out about some obligation you didn't know you had to your country back home. It's to empower you to take control of your unique tax situation and bring you one step closer to the freedom that you're seeking by being a traveler in the first place. The book even covers what to do if you decide you no longer want to be a part of the U.S. tax system, how to renounce your U.S. citizenship, and if necessary, acquire citizenship and passports in other countries before you do so. As I mentioned before, this book was written by Olivier Wagner, who is a certified public accountant. And in fact, his story is rather interesting. He was born in France and immigrated to the United States. So he gained the perspective of somebody coming to America for the first time and learning about all the complicated tax rules and how to become a citizen here. And he eventually became an expatriate of the United States. And that's exactly the perspective he wrote this book with, and it was really an honor to be able to help him bring this whole publication together to share his unique views and insight about how to live the life you want and also how to play the game that the IRS wants you to play while coming out ahead. Aside from essential tax information, the book also includes plenty of other important information about lifestyle, registering offshore businesses, opening bank accounts in other countries, how to get new residencies and citizenships, and everything else you would need to know as an American who wants to see the world while keeping in the good graces of your own government back home. You can find out more about Olivier and his company 1040 Abroad by going to www.1040abroad.com. If you have any other questions about any of our publications, you can check us out at identitypublications.com or email us at contact@identitypublications.com.